Hey, what's up, guys? And welcome back to another Real Madrid review. Kairat Almaty nil, Real Madrid 5. Honestly, once again, as I always say, I'm just happy to come away from this game with the points, with the 3 points, and we'll talk about the game in just a moment. But the overview, what we take away from this game and what the team takes away after obviously going all the way the 11-hour or so journey there and then another couple of hours back from Kazakhstan. What the players will be thinking of is, yes, we won 5-0. Yes, maybe we didn't start off strongly the first 20 to 25 minutes. We were on the back foot. Kairat were playing really, really well up to that point, and we'll talk about that in just a moment, like I said. But what the players will take away is, look, we got the win and we got the 3 points. Most importantly is that. And it's hard to argue against that because ultimately every single game you want to win. And when you look at what happened last weekend, when we went to the Wanda Metropolitano, we came out not just losing, obviously getting humiliated in that sense, but we dropped 3 points. We did. So ultimately, look, I'm gonna be I'm not gonna be fully critical, but although we do have to be critical on the performances, but on a very basic note, I'm just relieved to get the win, knowing how tough it is in a stadium, in the country, in a place, and then you add in the journey there, the journey home, all these factors. Um, you know, Players could be homesick, they could be jet lag. There's so many factors that could be in place, but to go there and to get the win is the most important. It's the most important thing that we could have done. So obviously, I'm very happy about that. Um, but yeah, let's talk about the game, shall we? Because fair play to Kairat Almaty. They they played really well the first 20 minutes of the first half, and then I would say the first 5 to 10 minutes of the second half. But ultimately, Kylian Mbappe is Kylian Mbappe. Like, he is him. So, you can't really do much. The first goal, people were crying that he scored a penalty. It is a penalty. I've said it so many times. Like, I've said it even when it's happened against Real Madrid. Whenever there's contact, physical contact in the box, it's a penalty, right? And let alone the keeper coming out to try to win the ball, not getting any bit of the ball, and completely wiping out Franco Mastantuono. That is 1,000,000% a penalty. No doubts about that. Everyone watching the game knows and would say, even if they are a rival fan, they would say that's a penalty. So the people who are online saying another penalty, blah blah blah, they either just didn't watch the game and they're just assuming that, you know, it's not a penalty and they're just hating, or they've watched the game and they're just talking a lot of shit, honestly. But that's a penalty. Um, Mbappe steps up, sends the keeper the wrong way. Brilliant penalty. Obviously, can we give a little bit of a shout out to their players? Kamurza, who is their young goalkeeper. He's about he's 18, by the way, and I believe their last Champions League game he saved the penalty to deny um Sporting, one of the Sporting players from the spot. So yeah, ultimately, uh, you know, it was a very good penalty from Mbappe. Never really gonna save that. But up until the point, he had a good game, and Kairat were doing well. And I'll tell you what they were doing well that frustrated me a lot as a Real Madrid fan watching the game. First of all, every single time one of Alaba or even, I have to be honest, like Fran Garcia, Dean Huijsen, Raul Asensio, basically every time the back four had the ball, they would constantly look to pass it back to Courtois, who would try to kick it long. And that is due to a number of reasons. Number one, Kairat Almaty were doing well, not necessarily with the pressing, but in terms of doing their man marking. They were constantly doing man for man. Sometimes they would double up on certain players like Vini Jr., they would have two on him, or Mbappe. But they would make it so that if Real Madrid wanted to play, possession football and wanted to, play out from the back, it would be very tough to do so, because if Courtois has the ball and he passes it to, let's say, Dean Huijsen in front of him, and then now Dean Huijsen has the ball. Now, on top of the fact that there is an attacker pressing, trying to win the ball from him, there's also the factor that every Real Madrid player are now being man marked. So Huijsen tries to pass to Fran Garcia, the ball might get intercepted. If you just look to the other side, to Raul Asensio, he's been man marked. He might get intercepted. So the one thing that they did really well, apart from pressing, was making it so that Real Madrid can't play it out, and we have to go long. And then when you go long, Real Madrid don't have the physical player up front to win the ball aerially, hold it down, link up with the wingers. If Real Madrid had Joselu, the tactic could have been kick the ball out from Courtois into the head of Joselu. He heads it down for Vini Jr. or whoever, and then boom, Real Madrid get on the attack there. But because Mbappe isn't your typical target man, Arda Güler isn't the most physical, then you have a problem there in terms of, now in terms of kicking it long, you can't do that as efficiently. And apart from that, defensively they were really solid. There were a lot of men behind. Obviously, they were more conservative when they had to play without the ball, and they dropped deep. They had 8-9 players constantly behind, trying to make it tough, which is expected, which is fair enough. But as you can see, when we got into the second half, they just looked so tired and lethargic, and the fatigue was kicking in. They couldn't run as much. They couldn't really handle, I think, even the mental side of the game, in terms of we have to play this way, we have to do this, we have to do that for the next 45-50 minutes. So look, they gave it their all, and ultimately the second goal, Courtois gets the ball, kicks it long. In the first half, if Courtois had done that, it would have been headed clear and dispossessed by Kairat Almaty, definitely. And that was what I was talking about. What Courtois did for the second goal is the only option Real Madrid had in the first half, which is why we struggled. Because not only did we only have that as the option, Kairat Almaty were on top, and they were so good in the first half defensively. So because of that, Real Madrid had to find ways to try to get in behind on the ground, not aerially, not by winning headers and whatever. We had to play your possession tiki-taka style of football, which created the first goal because of the penalty. So essentially, Kairat Almaty pretty much shot themselves in the foot when they gave away the penalty. But I'm not gonna be here to criticize them. I think they played well. When you look at what they have, the quality, the difference in the players, like, it's crazy. So although they're at home, yeah, it's not really comparable, really, is it? The squad and the depth and whatever. But the second goal, like I said, Courtois kicks it all the way from Mbappe, chases it down. It's basically a 1v1. Just, yeah, chips the keeper. Really, really great goal. And then the complete hat trick. Rodrigo came on by that point, and he was brilliant. By the way, the amount of take-ons he was, doing. He was not afraid, and that is something that we've said about Vinicius Junior so many times. The ability to take on his man, to dribble and dance past 10 players. The ability, that fearless factor of Vinny Junior, and that game from Rodrigo, that skill, that mindset, that skill set, is what we've been saying Vinny Junior needs to get back. And Rodrigo is, if he consistently puts in those performances, Rodrigo is pushing himself ahead of Vinny Junior in the pecking order. And I'm not saying this as someone who wants Vinny out, who wants Vinny not to play, but I'm saying this when I look at a 1v1. And I'm not just looking at output, by the way. I'm not just looking at GAs, goals and assists. I'm looking at the play. I'm looking at the link-up play. I'm looking at take-ons. I'm looking at not being afraid to get past his man, to take on his man. Rodrigo is making a really solid case about getting back in as a starter. He really is. And we know he's not going to start on the right. He's going to fight for the left-hand side with Vinny Jr. And when you can only have one of them, I don't think we live in a world where we can say Vinny Jr. has to start and Rodrigo can be benched, but we cannot say Rodrigo has to start and Vinny Jr. is benched. I think both possibilities are completely, possible. Really, I don't think it's one or the other. I think both are completely possible. It's really down to form. It's really down to the desire of the player. I'm not saying Vinny Jr. doesn't have desire, by the way. I'm just saying the spark, the flair that we know of Vinny Jr., the player that we know of Vinny Jr., he has to come back. He has to come back. And again, is it because every single time the opponent sees him play, they double down on him? That could be a reason. But look, third goal, Rodrigo does really well into the feet of Arda Güler, just a slight touch, and then for Mbappe to just smash it from the D, outside the penalty, outside the box. Sorry. Really, really, great finish to secure his hat trick, and he could have done it slightly earlier with that brilliant bit of 1-2 with Vinny Jr. Actually, Vinny Jr. puts it on a plate for him, and he somehow missed. Could have taken a touch and rounded the keeper. Could have done so many things, but he chose to take it first time and just overthought, didn't he? Just tried to do too much there. But very happy for him. Deserved the hat trick ultimately. And yeah, another brilliant performance. And then the fourth goal, Rodrigo again, great skill to get away from his man on the left hand side. Puts in a cross, Camavinga comes on, scores a header. 4-0. And then towards the end, good play once again, and then Camavinga into Gonzalo Garcia, who came on, and then out right hand side to Brahim Diaz, who also came on. The substitutes just linking up really, really well, and then from the far right, takes a shot off the post and in. It could have been one of those that hit the post and go wide or go, out, or just go wide in general. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, it was a brilliant finish from Brahim Diaz to really just wrap it up. Um, but on top of that, Bellingham also came on. Um, Fede Valverde rested. Lots of news coming out and speculation coming out this week for no reason that Fede Valverde has told Xabi Alonso he doesn't want to play. And I'm just thinking to myself, I don't know if he doesn't want to play or he doesn't want to play at right back. I don't know which the quote is, but it's absolutely nonsense to suggest that Fede Valverde, what is he known for? He is quite literally known for running around every single game. The commitment is through the roof. He's willing to sweat, to bleed for Real Madrid, for the jersey. He has played pretty much every game last season when he's fit, and for him to not play one game, for people to say he doesn't want to play, it's absolutely diabolical. I think it is. So let's just clear that up. Fede Valverde does not deserve the slander that he gets. He doesn't. And I do hope that Real Madrid fans in general are, you know, not of the mentality that, he doesn't want to play. Like, there's no way, right? Yeah, but anyways, look. Overall, great win away from home. Away in a very tough place. But yeah, big win. But I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Hit the notice did, subscribe to share us on already. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!